Hey everybody, hope you are all doing well today. I have a little bit of a cold, so I don't know how well I'll be doing, but I'm gonna do my best. Um, about 6 pages worth of things I kind of went through and picked out some auctions I figured show off to everybody today. And of course, we still do have the webcam back, which I'll turn on here momentarily. And actually, I accidentally had it on when I first hit live, so. Like I said, still learning. How are you, Picture Perfect Pythons? Meltdown Morphs, good evening. Get started here pretty soon. Agargan, how are you? Happy Tuesday. Third Coast Constrictors, how are you? And Cade Arcade, hang loose, right? That's the symbol for that. But, yeah, there's still some good stuff. Even when there's the pickings are slim, there's some good stuff on the auctions. I find Tuesdays for whatever reason, I think it's starting the week off. There's some good stuff, and then obviously the weekend. That's the best time in my opinion. But hope you are all doing well. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let me attempt to turn this thing back on here. There we are. Yeah, we get the face cam going on again. But if anybody has dips in quality, or if you have like stuttering or anything like that, let us know. We've been noticing something, just kind of battling it, I should say, of drops in like our upload speed and stuff like that. It's only for when it comes to the live streams and everything like that. It really would only affect that. So please, if you see anything weird, just let us know, even if it sounds like a little one-off. We're trying to tack that down and see if it's something on our end or if it's on our internet providers end. So, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started here. Obviously, like I said, there was about 6 pages worth, barring any mass upload right before I started. I'm not even on the first page. Let's see here. So there's a few of them that that are ending within the next like 15 minutes or so. I mean, if you want to take a chance, I didn't have this one singled out or anything like that, but a red stripe yellow belly, 66% hit paint. You have a higher than likely good odds of hitting the paint gene, which we're gonna show off a little bit later. So that's pretty nice. But first one I wanted to talk about was from CD Constrictors. It'd be this super chocolate Enchi DG hypo, female at that. Pretty well started for a little baby ball python to it, just over 200 grams there. There's a lot of power, especially if you're working this the Desert Ghost and hypo projects. They're kind of similar, obviously, right? You know, they lighten it up and enhance, but Desert Ghost does more cleaning, I would say, like cleanup and enhancing, whereas hypo brightens. So together, sometimes I think at one point people thought maybe they would just not really have a point together, but they're actually working incredibly well together. And this would be a really nice girl to get because everything that you breed is going to be chocolate. You might wonder what a chocolate without the super would be, because if you breed a super chocolate, every single thing that you breed is going to be chocolate. So every pairing from this is bare minimum, even if you bred a normal boy to her. Something like this, obviously you're not going to go for something like that. So you didn't get the owl mask? My brother was not in the room when we started. Instead, he just looks like he's about to rob a bank.
Yep.
But anyway, you totally made me lose my train of thought. Obviously, you want to breed a male to this that would have a lot more pairings than that, but for simplicity's sake, that's what you're getting. And so if you wanted to know what that would look like without the super, well, there you go. Look at the major difference here. That is a big difference. And these are both from CD Constrictors, ending in about a half hour within a minute of each other. So, and if you notice there's a decent price jump, the super is worth it. It is definitely worth it, for sure. Because, again, you're always getting the chocolate gene, which is a very nice gene. But when you pair them, this is the sort of stuff you could potentially get. Chocolate is really nice because it has this like melty chocolatey type looks. The DG and the hypo are obviously enhancing it, and then Enchi brings in a little bit more of a crazy pattern on it. So pretty darn nice, honestly, altogether. looks like this one was originally, both of these were actually originally from Fireball, which is a big time breeder too. Nice stuff, especially with DG. They make really, really nice stuff with DG. So either one of these girls here, I think would be really good ads for someone working this project. The DG Hypo project. I'm not into DG myself, but I do have Hypo, and I do have it worked into just by itself and with Clown. So I'm so glad to see that Hypo has kind of started to get a little bit more attention. People, when I first started doing this, people literally just dogged on it, saying that it just looks like the snakes in Shed, which, I mean, maybe. I mean, I don't think so. It's brighter. It's there's really no arguing that. It's a brighter snake. Can it make it harder to determine when they're in Shed? I mean, maybe a little, not a bunch, but just, I mean, for one, just every other thing that they do, kind of gives it away. So, but that's how people treated it, I think. It was also called Ghost back then, mostly. I mean, people still will call it that, but because of Desert Ghost and them being worked together, it would be very confusing. So, but yeah, I think that either one of these girls here would be just a really incredible ad for that project. If that's the sort of thing that you wanted to work on, I think these are really, really beautiful. I'd be very interested to see what they end at. So we'll probably pop back in if we're still. I'm sure 26 minutes we'll still be in here, just to see kind of what they're floating at, if there's a bidding war and whatnot too. So. Alrighty. Next up, this one I'm really excited to talk about because I like the Bongo gene, and I think that it's incredibly underrated. This Bongo Cypress Clown Het genetic stripe. So it's basically Het for the Kiki gene is what the combo is called when you put Clown and genetic stripe together. So Bongo is kind of a granulation type gene, but not like GHI or anything like that. It's its own thing, and granulation genes are the thing right now. I swear, and with these new ones like Voodoo and this Cosmos, hearing about it, I've seen it. It's incredible. Pixel, these types of genes that do this granulation and mess with it in that way. And Bongo's kind of like that too, as you can see here. But Cypress really tag teams with it incredibly well. And I love what Cypress Clowns do anyways with their heads. It's just a very nice, crisp, beautiful orange here. And the pattern really reminds me, we've showed it off a few times. I'm not going to show it with this, but you can just look it up. There's a redhead clown. If you just look up a standard redhead clown on YouTube, just get the Canova one. That's what this looks like. And those are worth a whole heck of a lot. And, well, this does have a reserve price, which we don't know what it is, but I often tell people bid up to what you're comfortable with. So maybe the reserve price is $500. I have no idea. But bid up to where you're comfortable. If you're comfortable spending $1,000, for example, though, don't just type 1,000 and hit place bid, because if it was at $500, you'd feel pretty foolish having wasted that much. Of course, you might not know it, but bid it up in increments until that reserve price drops off. And if it doesn't drop off, well, no biggie, because you're not responsible for it at that point. If nobody else takes up the bid and runs with it, then it's a null and void auction. So, hey Jay Blue, hope you're doing well as well. And Albert Bitten, hello from Germany. That is cool. That's awesome. What time is it there right now? I don't know, without doing a math or typing it in. So, Johnny, do you know what time it would be? Oh wait, why would you know? You just know a lot of things, so I just assume that my brother sometimes knows things, and I just ask him like an encyclopedia. But that's really cool, so... probably. Maybe. Known him for a long time. He's a solid guy with quality animals. It's 2:26 a.m. in Germany right now. I thought it would be, I don't know. I was thinking it would be like early morning, well, no, it's obviously early morning, but you know what I mean, like wake up time in the morning. So that's really cool though. So welcome. Jay Blue, are you talking about the seller here, Old Troy City Reptiles, that you've known for a long time? But he's actually popped into our live streams a bit sometimes, so wouldn't be surprised to see him pop in now. But last time he gave away, yeah, okay, awesome. Last time he just told us what the reserve price was on a monsoon. I followed that one to the end. Obviously, we weren't live at the time. I think it ended earlier in the day, but that one did sell. I remember that. So, yeah, just real quick, I wanted to show off what a Kiki Clown. I mentioned it earlier, by the way. Kiki Clown, this is the combo. Now it's got some extra beautiful things in there right there, but it's a combination of Genetic Stripe and Clown. This one happens to also be Orange Stream and Lesser and Banana, so but you can kind of see what it does to that pattern. It kind of takes the stripe from the Genetic Stripe and creates these blades, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, like these little like wavy, like boomerang-ish type blades, just going down the back. You can see it near the, I'm pointing again with my finger. You can kind of see how they are near the back there, with these like blades coming around. But you still get that stripe. It's like it's trying to pull that clown stripe to the back of it, but it can't quite do it. So that's actually awesome because it creates this cool bladey type chaos. I really like them. I don't think they get the credit they deserve, the Kiki project. I don't know why. You know, sometimes you see things come and go where they, I mean, like I just mentioned earlier, Hypo for a while was just, you know, people didn't really think much of it. I don't know why. That's not even that long ago. Some years ago, people were still saying that stuff. And not everybody, clearly, but some people were for sure doing it. And then there's like a renaissance, which I really like and appreciate in it because it's a cool gene. But I feel like there's a couple things here that should get, or at least a look, and that'd be Bongo, and then that Genetic Stripe that I mentioned. So, but it's a really cool animal. I definitely recommend the Kiki project, whether you go in on this boy or not. But he would be a really good one to get in on because he's got some power to him. But being a het Genetic Stripe, you can get a Genetic Stripe clown. The Kikis aren't crazy expensive. You can get a female for a little bit cheaper, or if you really want to save a lot of money, a Genetic Stripe het clown with some extra genes in there too, and kind of go to town and save some money. In a way that might make it even easier for someone to pick up an animal like this, because if it was double recessive, it might not be here available for sale, quite frankly. So either that or the starting price would be more, and the reserve price would be more. One of the two would be definitely true, because they're worth it. They're very cool. So I really like this animal. Like I said, if you look up the red stripe clown, and I said I wasn't going to do it. I said red stripe, but I meant the red head clown.
While you're doing that, thank you.
I did it again.
So Albert subbed in the middle of it. It actually popped up for once.
Sorry, what was that?
Albert subbed.
Oh, thank you, Albert. I appreciate it. And you get to witness my goofiness where I do this occasionally, where I forget to write ball python and instead I get a red-headed clown. Here's a good picture of it right there. I mean, let me blow it up here. Heck with it. We're just getting the audio and just showing it then. Alright. I don't know if we can do side by side, can we? Well, we kind of can. It's just not. There we go. There we go. They're kind of similar looking, right? And you know, it just kind of goes to show you that, yeah, they are different. There's no doubt. But what did I do here? Throw this over here. That, you know, you can kind of get these cool, unique looks in other ways. So, Jay-Z, I have a young female dragonfly pied. Geez, still trying to figure out what I want to pair her to when she gets big enough next year. Well, you got some time, and if you don't have a boy ready for her, you can easily source that in the time. And well, right about now, if it's a year from now, you might want to get him here soon. If you were going to source one, if you've got males, then yeah. I definitely recommend doing a. If you haven't tested it, you can test for Desert Ghost now. So test it, and if you do, then get a visual DG het pied at worst to go to him, or to go to her. That would be really cool. So, and of course, double visual the better. But I mean, I always assume, I don't want to assume people's budgets and whatnot, of course. So I mean, everybody I think should be able to make cool stuff on the budget they get, and that's kind of why I do these sorts of things, because I want people to make cool stuff, even if the odds are a little harder. Maybe that just makes the winning all the sweeter. So, alrighty, next up, another one actually from Old Troy City Reptiles would be the white lace project here that they've put up. So this is a female pastel spot nose yellow belly lace and a male black pastel lace. So the two of them together. Now there's no recessives here, but and recessives are the game. I mean, for better or worse, some people say, well, why is that the case? There's a lot of different reasons, and the biggest thing I can say is it's definitely business centric, because they're rarer, and rarer things, supply and demand. But supers are also literally just as hard to create, and that's what you're going for here, is the white lace, which is the combo of the super lace. And you have a lot of different directions you could eventually run this in if you hit a visual. Both proven and ready to breed. I did not catch that. That's pretty good too, because there's a reserve price. So, but if you get to this and you can immediately start creating, your own white laces, and then once you do that, maybe you hit a male and you start getting lace into everything, because he's super, and you're literally going to get it passed to every single thing, and that's pretty sweet. Eventually, you start working recessives into something like this. Try to hit as something really nice and packed with some really cool combos that look really good. And obviously everybody says clown, and there's a reason for that. It's the go-to, but there's a reason for that. So I don't have any other snakes right now. Well, yeah, then that would be a good one to source. I would recommend, depending on your budget, something visual DG is what I'd recommend, and they've come down in price. If it proves out as het DG, make sure it does. Send in a test to RGA to check that out, and if you go from there, then you can get that visual DG. That'd be really cool. Get a visual Desert Ghost, and then if you obviously Het Pied is probably the more reasonable one that you get. And quite frankly, you could probably get some other genes in that too, because that's not going to run you a massive amount. The reason I say that is because you're not going het to het, but you're also opposing each other with hets against the visual. Let me try to explain better. The pied that you have will be going to a het, so that matters. No matter what, all the babies, if they are not visual pied, will be then het pied for sure. And then on the contrary, the het, let's assume that he proves or she proves out as DG. The visual boy that you would presumably pick up would end up passing that gene on, so everything would be het. And then if it proves out as het DG, when you don't hit, you're for sure getting hets, and if you do hit, well then awesome. So that's why I recommend that. If you don't got the money to go get visual, because obviously you're always hitting in those cases, but then you gotta cough up a little bit more than moolah. So. Heart of Python, finally get to catch you live. Well, we finally get to have you here live. So, welcome. I think there's another one here. I started talking about white lace, and then I got off topic. Or did I get off topic? I don't know. But either way, this would be a nice one. There's another one right here that is a visual clown on top of that. It might be chocolate, too. Yeah. This one's really nice. I really like the coloring. You can kind of see lace showing its beauty off here. And in combos, it starts to make itself look even better. That's the thing about these subtle genes. We're actually doing a... did we film it already? We filmed so much lately. We haven't filmed it yet, have we? We're about to. Subtle genes.
Subtle gene?
Yeah, we haven't filmed that one yet. We're making a whole video. It'd probably be a little while before it actually releases about these subtle genes. And how unbelievable of an impact they make. Sometimes the little ones come along and they're the best helpers, and they make the most extraordinary things. So don't sleep on these subtle type genes like lace, like yellow belly, like redhead, like red stripe, like Russo. I could go on and on. They make big differences in these really cool combos. But there's two laces for you. This is a good male right here. That could definitely make a big time difference. There's no reserve on this. I just realized that. There's like, what, 24 hours left? I might take a stab at something like this. Yeah, this is really cool. I thought there was a reserve on this at first, or that it was more when I first picked it for here. Yeah, that's a good pick. This would be a really good one. A nice male to start working lace clown, especially if you want to do it with clown. No doubt. Yes. My brother sometimes messages me things and shows them to me. Real quick, I wanted to show you some of these white lace clowns, though, and just how much they kind of resemble something else. And maybe I mentioned this last time. I don't remember if it was on a live stream, but they kind of resemble what Desert Ghost might do, but without cleaning up the granulation and such. Because a Desert Ghost, I fear. Yes, Desert Ghost might actually. You see these little black dots? I'm pointing again with my finger. Sometimes I'll do that. You see these little black dots in the orange? Desert Ghost might clean that up, which to some people might be like, great, and it will embolden everything. But lace works with it, I feel, and kind of leaves it. And I like that. I actually like that. And I like this combo too, because it's kind of dirtier near the bottom and it cleans itself up near the top. And that's some of the potential of white lace. Which, by the way, these are a few of the jeans that I mentioned, other than Spot Nose, which is pretty visual. The Yellow Belly is in there, and then 2 copies of the lace. I mean, this clearly is not just a Yellow Belly clown, so you can kind of see what these subtle jeans start to do when they tag team. Very, very cool. Get to the comments here. Macomorph, how are you today? Level Up Reptiles, how's it going? It's going pretty good, other than the fact that I've got a little bit of a cold. And we're having a lag spike problem, which I explained at the top of the video. If anybody hasn't joined later, if you experience some crazy lag spike or something like that, along those lines, let us know real quick, because we're trying to track it down. It happened a little bit last week, and we just want to know if it's us, something wrong with our equipment, or if it's our internet provider. So, Albert, I have a question. I'm kind of new into the marketing thing of ball pythons. I have around 200 ball python. I had a lot, and have been doing mostly for the creations. That's in your heart's in the right spot. I have a few beautiful, supposed to be in the higher value. However, I have no idea how to price them. Can you talk into that a little bit? For example, Wookiee Fire Gravel, Hillbilly, Little White Pied Head Clown. So honestly, a lot of times that pricing and stuff like that, it can depend, and it can be a little tough. It's kind of like a moving target, to be honest with you. One of the easier ways to price is to price to averages. And one of the best ways to do that is quite frankly to use Morphmarket, especially in your area. Obviously, I know you mentioned that you're in Germany, but so you would need to go and price to your market. Obviously, it's a completely different thing. We actually did a video where we did a challenge where my brother had me build a team. We do these challenge videos sometimes, and did it just in Euro, so I kind of got a little bit of an experience of that when I did that, because I had to buy them all. And I didn't actually buy them, obviously, but it was a fake, for fun type challenge. But price them to comparable sellers, so you might want to look into stuff like that. Feel free to make sure you're utilizing Morphmarket's sold as well, so sort by availability and all. So you can see the past as well as to where it went. So obviously you don't want to, if it's very, very rare, maybe it hasn't been created in a long time, in which case that can, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, that can be a little tough in terms of pricing, but sometimes those are the ones you're not even trying to sell. So outside of that, and crazy expensive morphs, if you're actually looking to sell them, sometimes just putting out feelers and just, hey, what interested, in the end, it's what you are comfortable letting it go for and what it will actually sell for. I mean, how often do we see things people say, hey, this rare I got some Ninja Turtle toys up there, right? Sitting up there. I've got some, I like Halloween. If anybody's watched our Halloween episodes, I've got a bunch of Halloween things. I've got a signed Michael Myers knife now. What are those worth, right? Someone will tell me that's worth $1,000, but it's only worth what someone will pay. That's the old adage. So I can't give you a perfect answer to that, but the best tool, in my opinion, is to use Morphmarket and competitively sell, but not undercutting, if that makes sense. Because so many people will throw things up there and just, I gotta be the cheapest one to sell it. You really don't, because if I watch a lot of these things, they evaporate. Now, if you're selling basic stuff like just Enchi, well then yeah. I don't even recommend selling basic stuff on an online platform, quite frankly. But big combos, you usually want to comparably price it with my best recommendation is to do that. So hopefully that helped you out. So, Morphin Time was the name. Hey, so we have a 4 or 5 month old that weighs 150 grams, refuses food for a month at a time. I hear this question all the time. And my wife and I disagree about force feeding. When do you force feed? Well, first off, there's a difference between force feed and assist feed. Force feeding is the last ditch effort you do to save their life. It is. I've only ever had to do it one time, and it actually saved them. Usually when you force feed, you should already come to terms with it will probably die. But assist feeding, that's completely different. So assist feeding, it was one of our first videos we did. It's a completely different thing. You are just getting them started, and they are now creating the habit of eating it. So you basically, it's not a comfortable thing, and it's not comfortable for the snake, and it is stressful for the snake. Make no mistake about it. So you want to try to make it as painless as possible on everybody, because there's a good chance that you get a little bit of stabby in your finger. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but you kind of want to position their head in such a way that it's like, you're kind of holding them, and you two people better, but if it's a small little hatchling, you can kind of tuck their body underneath your shoulder there and kind of work their mouth open, quite frankly, with the rodent. So you take a smaller little rodent. I like to do it upside down, and kind of like the rodent that is. Looks like my brother just linked it, so you can actually check it out there. I learned this from Olympus Reptiles. Great resource they are, especially when I was learning and everything. But anyways, you kind of put it in their mouth and use the rodent to kind of pry their mouth open. You try to get it up to the shoulders, just kind of pushing it in there, but sometimes you can't, and especially if you're just learning, it can be tough. You want to clamp their mouth down, I've noticed, and kind of pull ever so slightly, not a bunch, because you actually rip the rodent. I know that's gross, but it is. And pull, and I usually go 1, 2, 3, so 3 different directions, kind of forward, left, right. And then I don't put them down immediately. I then hold the snake by the tail and let them sit there for about a minute to just dangle, because they're going to try to fight it, and if they're on the ground, they're better at it. And this, let them calm down. Once they've calmed down, sometimes they'll start chomping on it right then and there after a while. But if you're not good at holding still, gently set them down so that you're kind of like head first and kind of like putting them down very gently. And then very, very deliberate, very slow, nothing imposing movements, because you will stress them out and they will drop it. And then just kind of give them their space. Close up the thing. Sometimes you can watch them do it. Sometimes they don't care, but then you do want to like basically let them be looming over them. It doesn't usually help. Let's just put it that way. And they might spit it out. You might not be successful the first time, but I'm usually successful within the first or second time. And they'll usually work it down. So that creates a good behavior too. And they realize, I don't want to spit this out, and I know it's good, so I'm just going to eat it. And then when it comes time for them to eat on their own, eventually, they will develop a good habit. So the two things you're doing there is you're creating a good habits for them. Even though that's not something you want to do, you do not want to jump in. Quite frankly, I know you said it was a month and a half at 150 grams. I don't think you're there yet. Or no, you didn't say a month and a half. 4 to 5 months old. I guess it depends on how long it hasn't eaten. That's the thing. So You said it is a force feed, though. If it is a force feed, that's different. So you start with assist feeding, and then you usually take the tongs. This is why it's so scary. You should wait until you're basically thinking it's going to die. I know that sounds terrible, but it is the reality of it. For a force feed, that is. Because the force feed is basically, you're pushing this now, not past their mouth. So you always want to assist feed, try to assist feed first. And it might honestly be better. This is gross, this is gruesome, but to cut the rodent up for a force feed. Because you're at this point, you are not trying to teach them. You're trying to get them past a point. Maybe they're sick, just to get food in their belly. Because the assist feed not only gives them sustenance, but it also teaches them. And that's the biggest thing, is teaching them good behavior, that this is a good thing. But the force feed is just strictly a life-saving effort. So I would, I personally, it's a tough one, because you wait too long, obviously it's too late. But quite frankly, I think that when you decide to force feed, you should be ready for something terrible. You should be prepared that is a very high likelihood at this point. I think assist feeding is the way to go. I think you should assist feed for a long time. It really depends on how long it has. I would exhaust every effort first, changing them up. If you have them in a tank, switch them to a tub. Sometimes eliminating space helps them. Add more hides. Make sure the temperatures are good. All that stuff. Maybe you've already done that. Obviously I can't know for sure. But go through all those efforts before you force feed. I've only ever had to do a force feed one time in all my times, and it actually saved them. My luck odds were great on that one. Assist feeding, I have to do it every now and again, every year, and then they eat. So Jay Blue says paper bag method can work. That's another good idea. I would recommend first too. So you take a rodent, a frozen thud probably, and not probably for sure, and put it in a paper bag, and they feel comfortable kind of going into that. I guess it doesn't have to be a paper bag per se, but it's something that they would go into with the rodent in it, and you leave it in there. I've actually had some success with that too, leaving rodents overnight. That dead one, sorry, I was like dead, frozen thawed, not live by any means. Never leave alive overnight, or you will have a problem. But a frozen thawed, it might stink in the morning. That's the risk you're taking, but I mean, it can still develop that, because they might have a scavenger type mindset right off the bat, and they will do that. I've had adults that did that for me for a while. I don't know why, but they did that for me for a while until they finally got used to me. So, or I shouldn't say to me, but blinded me. Picture perfect pythons. What do you normally film in? I'm thinking of getting a Canon. Our equipment is incredibly it's incredibly what's the word?
We film on a cell phone?
Yeah, we literally film on this right here. This is my brother's. It's not even the most powerful cell phone. Mine's better. And sometimes we'll get footage on that. I'm not joking. These new cell phones, most of the money that are sinking into them is from these beautiful cameras that they have in them. Now don't get me wrong, if you want to go like pro, yes, there's cameras out there, but you're spending, what would you say, Johnny? My brother went to school, like college, for all this stuff. How much would you say a good video camera? And that's a difference too. Cameras and video cameras are different. We have a Canon. Don't we have a Canon? That's beautiful for taking pictures, and it can be good for taking videos, except for the fact that it isn't an autofocus. So we don't use it, except for when we want to get great, beautiful pictures. It's great for that.
The price on video cameras can range, but you could easily be spending thousands. So you can probably get a decent video camera for much cheaper.
But at that point, how much more worth is it than the newest cell phone camera, which is very, very nice. So, just a thought. I would recommend determining how much you're going to use it for. Maybe you use it beyond this or whatnot. And video cameras are more expensive than wouldn't you say? Video cameras are more expensive than picture cameras.
I'd say generally. I'm more specialized in the software side, not the hardware side. So.
But yeah. So honestly, that's what we use. So if you thought you liked our quality, And this is not being filmed on a cell phone. This is being filmed on a really cool webcam called HD 180p. I don't know. I didn't have a name. I got it on Amazon. It had really good reviews. So yeah, that's what I'd recommend until you get to a point where this is making so much money for you that it's no longer a big deal. It's like, okay, this is my career. Then maybe that's when you might make a decision to do a bigger investment, I suppose. But I would say a lot of times people walking around with these big nice cameras probably don't realistically need them. It's not to say they're not worth it and they're not beautiful and they don't make beautiful things, but it's just my 2 cents on it. So
what I would say is a lot more important is going to be your lighting and your microphone. So lighting in particular, especially if you're trying to show off ball pythons, is critical. Last stream we tried to show off some ball pythons and they looked horrible.
Oh right, yeah, we never fixed it. We forgot to.
Well, we don't really have a good way to fix it. But to be blunt, the light we're currently using on this stream is not great for what we do.
Yes.
In our actual videos, the reason why they usually look pretty good is because we're using 2 studio lights for photography.
Yeah.
So, and the reason that's important is because cameras rely on light a bunch, and you might think that, like for us right now in this room, it seems pretty bright, but if you actually look in the webcam in the top left, you'll notice the background, it actually looks kind of dark. That's because our eyes actually lie to us about how things look. Our brain just does things to make it more visible for us, but like a camera, when set to manual settings, it'll show this room is actually incredibly dark. And all cameras are going to behave that way, or if they're set to, which most phone cameras are, they're going to try to auto-adjust to make it look more natural.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to make sure you get the lighting down pat. So I don't know how expensive. Some studio lights can be really expensive.
The ones we got they're like $20-$30. You could probably get something comparable for $20-$30 off Amazon, and the lights themselves are not that crazy expensive either. Now a lot of times they'll use little fuses that you might need to replace every now and again, but
most lights.
It's cheap. So
most non-LEDs are going to be that way.
He was Jay-Z was asking about not Jay-Z. What is wrong with me? I'm sorry. Jay Blue was asking how much movement and stabilization you need with autofocus. I've never noticed really an issue, even on this. I mean, this is a webcam.
Honestly, I don't really know. Like I said, I'm mostly a video editor first. So yeah, I know on my phone I have it set to do the auto smoothing thing, and that's mostly because of for Tinley walkthroughs. It's mostly set for that. Mm-hmm. But you may notice we don't tend to move the camera much in our actual videos apart from egg cutting.
So it's on a tripod.
Yeah, because it's on a tripod.
Yep. So get yourself a decent tripod too. They aren't expensive. Honestly, your phone is your most expensive thing if you go that route, quite frankly. So that is what I'd recommend as a phone.
I'm sure there's probably plenty of resources that talk about this more in depth than I can. Like I said, I'm mostly a video editor. The camera stuff I only know enough to get the job done. Not very many of the details beyond that.
And
Oh yeah, I forgot. I never even went to the microphone. The second thing is you're gonna need a decent microphone. You don't need to spend that much. We use a lav mic, which is you don't need no details, but it's that little tiny pin thing Ryan has on him in pretty much every video. That thing was $30 or $40 on Amazon, and admittedly the one we use isn't that great. It has a tendency to break after only a year. But that thing, I mean, you've heard the audio quality.
And Amazon has a wonderful return policy.
It's definitely much serviceable than, say, your phone's going to do. Cause
that's
your
the big
phone
thing.
mic is
in fact,
probably going to be really bad.
If you want to listen to it, I think we used the phone mic in our first videos, right?
Yeah, and also,
So
I think it's
one
of the walkthroughs, we couldn't use it either. I think it was the 1001.
Okay.
So if you watch the 1000 watt or the 1000 subscriber walkthrough, you'll see how that sounds. It's not great.
Yeah. Otherwise, for these,
a lav mic,
Yeti.
And we're using a Yeti to do these as well, or the live streams anyway. But we don't use that much for actual filming because it picks up a lot of background noise. But yeah, it's lav mics. What I recommend. That's spelled L-A-V. That's not a brand of microphone. That's the type of microphone.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll get back to the snakes here now, but that's the most you've ever spoken on this channel. There you go. We should just do a video where you just talk about the dude.
I brought it up before.
How would you do it? Because you want to wear the owl mask and never show your face. Whatever. Voiceover. Macromorph. I'm alive and grinding. Just cleaned all the geckos. That's good. That is good. Cleaning is, I'm glad you got through it. I hate cleaning. Morbid morphs. I had a girl not eat for 7 months. Larger ones, yeah. We had 9 months, and she lost 10 grams in the entire time. The bigger they are, the less you gotta worry. So, but yeah, back to the food thing. I know that was something. You're welcome, Picture Perfect, by the way. But I don't know if I ever tied out with that. Just be sure that that's the direction you want to go. It really depends on how much time it's been. You know, if they're 150 grams and it's been like a month, don't force feed by any means. I wouldn't even assist feed. Realistically, you want to look at their body condition. And I feel like they stop drinking water when it gets really bad. I've seen it before where they just crash. And it's just like, there's a day where you're looking at them and it's just like, they haven't eaten in a while, but they look good. And then there's a week you go to them and they just look really bad. That, you know, that's kind of when you start making some of those decisions and stuff. But even force feeding, I'd still see as fist feeding. We had one that I was like, this isn't looking good. I assist fed it at 8. And they kept it down, right? You checked them this morning.
Yes, it did.
There you go. So, I actually did it yesterday. I haven't had to assist feed actually that's our first one for the year. Of course, it is a young year so far, but I haven't had to do many of them last year. So, all right, we're gonna move ahead with the showing of the snakes, and we're getting into some sunset stuff here. It would be this Orange Dream Pied Het Sunset, female here from Brock Wagner at that, and you might notice like for a pied, this is a pretty hefty price tag, and that is because it is het pied and it's a female. So this could make, you know, obviously what you're going for here. It's not really hidden. It is pied sunsets, and they're really cool. And Orange Dream is a good one with it. See, the thing about sunsets is they're not very. A lot of people really love them, and some people will say they brown out. I don't. You work sunset right now. I'm not sure if that'll ever change. I'm definitely open to it, but they are not. At one time I was concerned. I was just like, how hard is it to fight the brown out that everybody always talks about they get? Newsflash, it really isn't. In fact, my favorite one is with banana. I really like it. Lavender albino is another really good one too. Desert Ghost, at first when they made the Sunset Desert Ghost, a lot of the people who made it said that they weren't, you know, they were a little let down. But I think with age, these have proven to be the opposite. They obviously look really great with age. So one more here would be this, not with Pied, admittedly, but a little bit bigger though, so that's nice. A female possible yellow belly, which you can test for, quite frankly. That 100% het sunset. So that's one you could possibly get into it a little bit cheaper. Posing right there. And there's no reserve on that one either. I don't think there was on his either, but obviously there's a big price difference. But I did want to show you really quick what a pied sunset looks like, and they're really nice. A lot of times, like I was mentioning earlier, this brownout, pied kind of changes the coloring too, quite frankly. People don't think about this, but it does, and it can serve to, what I think, lighten it up and clean it up, and adds an incredible amount of contrast, as pieds almost always do, because I mean, whenever you bring in stark white on something, it's gonna do that. So they look really cool, and then you, like I said, you're also playing around with Orange Dream in there, so it's gonna pop even more. Like I said, some of my, that's Justin's face, some of my my favorite sunsets are like with banana and lavender albino and such like that. So very, very nice looking animals if that's the sort of project you want to go into. Quite frankly, this is a steal. You know, like I said, I saw some visual sunsets go for around what you're seeing right here now, at Tinley, where there was one that went for 800, while other people were slinging them for still thousands. So but this is from a guy who really knows how to work sunset as well, in Brock Wagner. So that's the other thing too, is you're getting really good quality. All right, the next few from Rice Reptiles are actually proven breeders. So again, this won't be for everybody because some people don't need these types of genes in their collections, but they're really good for creating some pretty cool animals. Just right off the bat, and they're great for someone who wants to learn how to breed but doesn't know if they want to, put aside the capital to do really crazy things, but they're interested. They want to have fun with it. These are good for that. Getting proven breeders like this, or in general. Plus, a proven breeder just jumps you ahead. You don't have to wait 3 years for a female. I mean, she's a pretty good size one at that. Last laid last year in June, so she's ready to be paired immediately. You obviously make sure they have a few meals or whatnot, and if you do I highly recommend a quarantine procedure for just about anything. However, rice is one of the best. I very highly doubt that there's anything to worry about, quite frankly. Take that as you will. But having a proven breeder like this, one of my first clowns was actually, it was a male though, was an Inchy pastel clown. And I wanted to make clowns right away, so it was a boy, and I just went and I drove down to Indianapolis and picked him up, and I had him for quite some time until eventually I kind of moved on from him. Actually retired him as a pet to somebody, so I think it was a pet. I don't know. Either way, he could go either way. So, yeah, he was a good breeder for me at the time. But I'd say I kind of got some extra genetics in there. So, Curtis Coils, hello. How are you? I think it's this weekend. I'll see you. All right, and then another one here from Rice Reptiles would be this again, another proven breeder, Piebald Het SK Exantic. Or TSK Exantic. And if you don't know, we actually just released that video about that with all the morphs that don't follow the rules. And we briefly talked about Exantic, even though I am not the most perfect expert on it. But this stands for the Snake Keeper, and it is a different line. So don't get a VPI. Don't get a VPI Exantic and put it to this and think that you're going to get anything besides, a whole lot of nothing, and maybe some hits. This is you need to keep the lines together. I think there's certain things that might be the same gene. I can't remember which one. Again, I'm not a perfect expert on them, but there's like 4 or 5 different just regular Exantic lines. There's also black Exantic too, but I kind of consider that really its own thing, kind of like pastel and black pastel. But I think that's compatible with something too. So, but this could create lightning pieds, is what they call them. And Exantic is really cool. Another one that I don't work here myself, but when you can get Exantics right, they are really, really killer. The Desert Ghost ones have just absolutely blown me away. The amount of contrast on there, it's pure black white. Very, very beautiful. So, Carter, did you cover any Hognoses tonight? Not there yet. In fact, I think it's literally the next tab. Literally. So, are you going to the Southeast Reptile Expo? I don't believe I'll be able to make it, but I am looking into a bunch of them. Actually had some people reach out to me, but I don't think I'll be able to make it to that one. I have to be I kind of just like staying in my area in a way, but I do travel to certain ones. So and eventually I would like to go to some of the more international ones, even if it's just for fun, like Daytona. I'd like to go down there, but I'm blessed being, what is it, 30 minutes from Tinley, something like that.
45. Yeah.
Well, I think it's actually 30, but 45 if traffic is normal, which it's normally not. So actually, like 4 hours from Tinley, because Chicago's horrible. Blessed from being so close to Tinley, and Schaumburg is pretty darn close to us too. So I go to those every year. I don't vend them yet, but I do kind of want to. I've been playing around with the idea. If I don't do Schaumburg this year, I think I gotta say it's probably gonna be the year after. But yeah, so won last night. That's awesome. Yeah, in fact, after I'm done with this one, that's the next tab. I can see it. But yeah, just anytime I see proven breeders up here and such, I like throwing them out there, especially when they're from someone as quality as Rice. Reptiles, we've gotten some snakes from him before and showed him off on the channel. Wonderful human being and a great breeder. So these proven breeders are a steal right now, and if this is the sort of things you want to work, it's cool stuff and for much cheaper. I'm telling you right now, they're used to, when I started piebalds, the running thing was that they're $1 a gram. So if you bought a proven breeder, that is, was $1 a gram, this would be just under $1,900, not counting the head. So now you add that on top of it, and then, well, that's the pieds were that. I remember that being like the saying I was told, $1 a gram. Not the case anymore. So take advantage of it and make some cool stuff. I can stay with you when I finally get to yeah, I will be there. So we bump into people every now and again. Feel free to, if you run us into us at a show, I mean, I love meeting people. So yeah, come say hi. Cardi, you want a Super Conda head exanthic ready to breed girl? That's awesome. I know you were saying you got another one recently too. I can't remember if that would if it was a girl or a boy, but I think it was a boy because you were saying you were looking for a girl. Either way, I hope you got it. That's awesome. I'm still growing mine out and whatnot, so heck, we can start doing like Hognoses on the side at our shows. That's so cool. We're both Indiana, so we don't have any restrictions for that. Sometimes if you do Hognoses, which right on cue, we like to talk about Hognoses for a brief bit because I do have them and I'm growing them out to breed them. That is happening. I have a few things, like a male 2 size and a female that's close. I don't think she's going to make this year, sadly, but you know, I don't want to push it. But the cool thing about Hognoses is that they can breed a few times a year, up to not, you know, like 1 is easily, but 2 is often, quite frankly, and sometimes they can do 3. So but the bad thing about Hognoses is really just the law. They are native these are Western Hognoses. There's more than one. They're all over the world. But the Western and the Easterns, they are protected by certain laws because they are native. And the worry is that they'd be at least that's the worry, that the only one that I think that's worthy of a law would be to not over collect from the wild so as to endanger the population. That one's actually a worthy law to protect, but sometimes I think, without going on a whole thing, sometimes I think that laws get a little too much, but they are protected in certain areas, so you got to have a permit. Illinois is one of those, so they're our neighbor. Hogs can have pinky ASF instead of mice, can't they? I do it, so yeah. They can have those. They can have rat, although I've heard rat has a little bit more of a higher fat content, so maybe not as often. But I mean, every now and again to get them a little bit more fat, that's a pretty good one. So, but ASFs is what I primarily do, quite frankly, nowadays. I'm actually going to an expo in New Hampshire on February 2nd, and they're booking to pick up a new gargoyle gecko though. That's awesome. I'd like to go see that area. I've been up to well, just it was a fun vacation, so and I really liked the area. So yeah, late start, but thank you. Hey Nathan, how are you? Alrighty, so I haven't picked any of these out yet, but I always love looking at them. I just kind of open the page. One thing I always like showing off here, as I mentioned, there's different types of hognoses, right? It's very important that you pay attention to it. The Easterns, by the way, are not good pets. They are dramatic as heck. They pretend to die all the time, and they don't do great in captivity. It'd be cool if eventually they do. But the Westerns, otherwise known as the Plains, they tried to change the name and it didn't really stick, but the Western Hognoses, those are the ones you're going for. Now you might think this is a really beautiful one. Tricolor is not a morph, it is a type. So these are not ones that you should get with these. They probably would, I mean, I haven't looked into it, but they probably would produce viable offspring. However, tricolors have a whole thing about them. They actually don't live as long by a good amount. I think I've heard 7 to 8 years. So not as good of, you raise them up for sometimes half that, if not more. So that they can be a little tough to keep because of that, but they are beautiful. I really like that one. But just don't get them together with trying to breed them with hognoses. I don't know if that's been done. It's just not that I'm not saying anything against hybrids. I really don't have an opinion on hybrids. It's more or less just because of the life of them. Unless you do your research, don't do it thinking that that's a morph. That's what I'm getting at. But if I had to pick a few here, is it proven? They have a proven right here, so I'm just curious. Doesn't look, well, maybe. And we'll look at this Conda Sunburst, which is my favorite thing. Toxic. That's cool looking. Alrighty. Well, you can kind of see how I pick things with my eyes. This is not a proven breeder, but it is a sable het albino. So it is basically het for what I was mentioning earlier, that Sunburst, which is a really, really beautiful gene. The sable itself is a little bit of a darker morph. In a way, it kind of makes them look just ever so slightly like, well, at least the pattern of Eastern. So they have a little bit of a darker head and such. The albino is my favorite genetic in Hognoses, at least to date. Mostly because, well, there you go. That is why. I think this is absolutely chef's kiss right here. The Sunbursts are very, very popular. Still arguably the most popular morph of Hognose. The Conda you're seeing right there is it reduces the pattern a little bit. So you get these little dots that are definitely less pattern, and it's kind of named for that because it looks like an anaconda type pattern. But I think that this is perfect. I love these. I love the Conda by itself, quite frankly, too. 2 copies of the Conda. Sometimes it depends on the morph, because it actually strips the entire snake of pattern. So it's just this color, right? In fact, except its head. The head, including these cool little wings that come down near the side of its head right there, would stay in a Super Conda, and then it would just be the same color. It would be this off color, kind of like this peachish. So very, very beautiful. I really like these ones. So let's go here real quick. Oh, I forgot about those. The Super Chocolate is at 13,500. Yeah, that exploded. What was it when we first looked? 400, I think. Let's see if its sister sold. Look at that, the difference. That one's gone. That one probably slipped while people fight over this one, just because of the Super. That's crazy. That's crazy. And it jumped up even more since last time Picture Perfect mentioned this. Got 3 minutes left, so I'm going to try to not keep on topic and come back to it here in a bit. But yeah, Hognoses are, like I said, especially the Sunbursts. That's a project we're working on. I do have Xanthic in Hets forms, so I'm hoping that I can hit Snows, which is the albino Xanthics. So really looking forward to all those ones, and I eventually start creating them as a kind of like a side type project. We're actually looking into other things too, non-snakes. At some point, we've already taken steps for Herman's tortoises, quite frankly, and by steps I mean that they've done the dirty. And we are also heavily weighing Uromastyx on a very low scale. So ball pythons right now are primarily, and for the foreseeable future that I can think of, what I'm going to be sticking with. So, and our last one here would be this Toxic female, and that sounds what's the word they use? Misogynistic. But I won't go there. The reason it's a Toxic is the morph. It's a toffee belly Xanthic, and it creates this kind of this paler type, beautiful type look. I like the background, how it looks like it's in a LA, or not LA, Noir. I said that for the video game LA Noir, but a Noir type film, like some detective film. Purple line is actually something that can be passed on in a polygenic type of way. So that's pretty nice. And you can really see some of the cool things you can do with like Xanthic. Toffee Belly is I guess you'd say it's a form of albinism, but more like the with candies, like in our in ball pythons, but you know, not as, I'd say, intense, I guess. They're very, very nice. I actually have Toffee Belly as well, so very cool. So Robert says tries are short-lived, but they are beautiful. That is 100% true. They are very, very cool. So I hit 2 super chocolates, 1 hypo, 1 het hypo. They're very cool. 100%. And speaking of that, it's still going. In fact, it just got a bit. That is nuts. I mean, like, I knew this would raise, but I'm not gonna lie. I thought that maybe somehow people would just sleep on it. There it goes again, and just let something crazy go by. But that didn't happen. So very, very nice. The first one we started with too. So, but yeah, those are some of the hogs. And as you can see, there's always less hogs because they're not as big of a thing. They are growing in massive popularity, though. The only thing keeping them down, in my opinion, is the fact that there are laws in place for certain certain places, I should say. So, always double check where you live to make sure that westerns can be kept there, because it's not always the case, and you might need a permit or something like that. So, yeah, mine are not DG, darn it. Yeah, if they were, you'd have a decent payday on your hand if you wanted to sell them. So Blue or J Blue, I am looking to small scale breed gargoyles and would love to get a pair of leeches. I don't have the room for anything large scale. Leeches are cool. Same thing, I don't have a lot of room. I have a gargoyle gecko, and I actually have a Cresty as well. They're just for fun. At one point I debated breeding them. The gargoyle is beautiful though. I know we shared a picture to our social media once of her, and she's really, really nice. I love the gargoyles. They have like these like raptor type heads from the Jurassic Park. In my opinion, they're just so cool. One thing I'd say that you can get a lot of these like geckos and whatnot from, not as much gargoyles, but they are still on there. Go on Palm Street. I'm seeing these things go for ridiculously insanely stupid prices that are good. So yeah, I would I'd recommend checking Palm Street out for some of the gargs. Pangea's actually on there, and they do most of the Cresties, obviously, but they do a healthy amount of gargoyles, and they're like once a week. I love watching their things, even though I'm not into breeding geckos and whatnot. I appreciate them. Obviously, I keep them. And they do these. What's cool on Palm Street is you do these giveaways and whatnot. So it's like a fun thing to just watch. Never thought I'd really just watch somebody sell a bunch of stuff, but I do. So 3,161 listings on Morphmarket or hogs versus the 37,457 ball pythons in just the U.S., which that's actually down quite a considerable amount since the last time I checked the ball pythons. Which is a good thing, quite frankly, which we will get into maybe another time. So, but yeah, check it out, Jay. I think that you'd enjoy the Palm Street. You just got to download the app, and then if you want to buy anything, at least you have to put your credit card on there. And I've bought from there, by the way. As I know, Carter's Coils, who actually introduced me to that site, has, and I've never had an issue. I think it's fun. I like jumping in there. So we did a whole video on it, in fact. So, alrighty, we're gonna move back into the ball pythons here, and are a little bit more halfway through the video at this point, and we're talking about my favorite, which you saw this one explode here, and it's still going. 18 now. Oh my! This has the potential to explode too. Monarch is still a pretty expensive recessive. And it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. You can kind of see how it differs from a lot of the other the T plus albinisms, which would include caramel and ultramel, which are phenomenal as well. Just in this right here, it's not about the yellows and the oranges that are coming in. It's the other thing. It's this purplish. It's this beautiful mahogany. It's as closest to purple as you're gonna get in a bull python right now. Anyway, it's definitely like a plum type color. And might I turn your attention to the fact that this is pastel, the quote unquote ruiner of all ball python morphs? Not in Monarch, and not in the right combos at all, quite frankly. But it works very well with pastel, and just like it does with DG, and there's a reason for that. Monarch isn't just this morph, in my opinion, in terms of coloring. It really serves to clean up. It's like it's got a ever so slight microdose of Desert Ghost in it. Excuse me. But like I said, I actually prefer the darker route of Monarch, not because I like the darker genes, but because I like the contrast it brings. But it does light very, very well. In fact, I've recently, as in just last week, purchased a female with quite a bit of lighter type genes because I said, heck with it, I'm done. I'm gonna start making those too. I'm very, very happy to get her from CD Constrictors whenever we thaw out up here. So you can really see, like I said, these nice deep mahoganies. Pastel didn't ruin it at all. In fact, it makes it look very, very nice. In some just regular monarchs, you don't even get this like this blushing in the middle of the dorsal and whatnot. Very, very, very cool. And a female too. I'll keep an eye on this one, quite frankly, myself. This auction. Because I will not let this go. If anybody's foolish enough to let this go for 530, it'll be going for 5 something else to me. But it won't. It'll go for much more. So, there's, like I said, there's a lot of potential in Monarch. This is what I'm about to show you. Is a few other ones. I actually forgot to look up the Dark Knight Monarch that was recently made. There's so many champions, quite frankly, in Monarch that just it's really starting to take off. But this is the one that I was already probably gonna go Monarch, but then when I saw this, I was sold. This is one of the most incredible animals I've ever seen in my life. I knew right then and there. I mean, like, that's like a reddish purple on this beauty that I needed to start making clown monarchs and many other things too. I have lots of plans with Monarch. Lots and lots and lots of plans. Some that I haven't gotten all the ingredients for yet. But I will. I've already spoken to people. And I that's kind of like what I want to make my stick is Monarch. And I've already really taken a lot of randomly a subtitle there. But I kind of want to make that my stick, so to speak. That I'm mostly known for. Not that I wouldn't work other things other than Monarch, but I really, really love Monarch. So I hit a female. Robert says I hit a female. Hypo Super Pastel Super Chocolate Mojave. That's still nice. I mean, you hold something back like that, especially with the super chocolate in there. That's going to be really nice. And quite frankly, if you want to hit it with DG, that's a good one to do it. Because if you breed it to a Desert Ghost, you're getting the double het right off the bat. It's going to bring pastel along, and it's going to bring chocolate along every single time. So now you just got to get that Mojave in there. Let's see what we're looking at here. Here we go. Still going strong. Like I said, when we started this, it was at 400 something. So it really shows how some of these can just go nuts. 77 bids. More than one. This person with the J and the L in their initials have been in there quite a bit. HS. But there's other people. There's more than one bidder. This isn't just a bidding war between one person. This is... Yeah. This one exploded. It's cool. Like I said, there's the other one that was with it. I wish I had seen where this one ended. It is the same thing, except that's a super. It makes all the difference because, like I said, it acts like it really does. It's like you hit the visual, like a recessive, because it acts like that. It's a different phenotype, which means the look of the snake. But clearly, it had a big difference there. And it's a lot of power in this girl, too, so... Very cool. Got a minute left. Well, I wonder if they're playing this game where they wait till the last second and then bid it up. try to play like a game of needling you away, frustrating you. It works. It does, for sure. That's the plan with DG. Good. That's good. Jay says 24 hours left in that Monarch. Yeah, it's gonna skyrocket. I think so too. But if it isn't, mine. Jay's Balls Creation, yo. What's up, man? How are you? Homozygous is better than heterozygous. Yes. So homozygous is the 2 copies of the gene. A lot of people will associate those with just recessives, but that's actually not technically the case. We say het. So like if this was a het, we'd say het desert ghost, het hypo, something like that. The homozygous is the visual version that you're seeing in front of you. But technically this is also homozygous for, there it goes, just got bit up. All right, we'll keep moving on here in a bit. But it's also homozygous with chocolate too. I don't know why I couldn't say that word without, yeah. But it's if it's got 2 copies of its genes, that's the big thing. So but a lot of people, just for simplicity's sake, and I don't see any reason to change that, will just really associate them with recessives, and that's okay. So it's the same thing with like incomplete dominant and codominant. People technically are misusing the codominant term. It's incomplete dominant. Codominant works a little differently. So yeah, this is there now. They're slinging some haymakers. Wow. All right. Well, this ain't ending anytime soon. We'll go ahead and move forward here in just a second. Not gonna lie, I am trying to get into the hobby of breeding ball pythons. Any advice? Also love your videos, man. Well, I appreciate that first. Thank you so much. The biggest thing, if you're just starting, keep that word hobby near and dear to your heart, and have a plan. Don't even if you love it for what you love it for, don't ever do anything, I guess, that's putting you in debt. Some people I hear do very foolish things. Don't do that. Just do with what you're comfortable with, and that's a lot of times why I make these videos, so that people can find it across all sorts of boards. People who got this kind of crazy money, who just now threw another $100 on it, and people who've got only a little bit. And you want to make cool things either way, and I try to show people how to do that even without a budget, and that's why sometimes I'll show animals that might not look their full potential, but their babies could, if that makes sense. I try to find the hidden gems for you, and that's what you should try to do, is find some hidden gems if you're going down that route. And if you're just doing it as a hobby, right off the bat, kind of start it with that. And honestly, a proven breeder might be a great way to go, to get your hands get some hands-on experience with that. But keep an animal first. Keep it for a little while. Make sure you know how, if you haven't already. And if you have, obviously, then great. And if you already know the care and you got all that locked down, kind of go from there. But I have like a whole thing. We should probably link a video about, depending on how you want to go, with either it's care, and then we do a business video too. Now that was made in 2003. We've been discussing 2. Yeah, it was made in
2023, not 2002.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Whatever. I made it when YouTube was invented. No, not even before. Whatever. But it's I don't remember when it was made. It's been a couple, maybe even 3 years. But a lot of that advice we did for the business aspect, I still hold true to. But just learn as much as you can. Learn as much as you can. Be willing to listen to contrasting opinions. Formulate what works for you and stick with what works for you, and then never ever disparage anybody else for doing what works for them. I do tubs. There's a way to do tanks not possibly well as well. And I'll never disparage anybody. I'll give them my opinion, but don't ever disparage. That's another big thing, just try to learn as much as you can, I'd say, and go from there. Let the business side of it come a little bit later. So right now you just want to learn care. Make sure you have everything set up properly, whether it's the incubators, we need space for the babies, and just learn everything you can. So that's just from a quick little snap notes, or whatever you want to call it, spark notes. That's something I'd recommend. So Maybe we can link some of those videos here in just a bit too that we had made. But this thing's still going. We'll come back to it here in a bit. This auction, it's almost reached 25. I feel like it might. All right, let's keep going through here. Cypress, leopard, clown, female right here. This sharp combo, like I talked about Cypress earlier. Cypress is beautiful. Leopard is beautiful. Combine them. Well, it's no surprise that you get an even more beautiful animal. Said I'm battling a little bit of a cold here. Actually, have gone a little bit longer than I had originally thought I would. But yeah, this is a good female to get in your collection. Especially, this is a good like in-betweener, right? So I was mentioning the budget thing earlier. This is one that you could still get, and it's not going to go crazy anymore in price. At least I don't feel like it will. It will raise from here. Let's not kid ourselves. But it could be attainable for somebody as a good female, but yet still have a considerable amount of power to it. There's a lot of different directions you could go with this. I immediately think of, a lot of people think that the Batman morph is overdone nowadays, but there's still so much more you could do with it. Cypress Batmans, you get a spot nose clown, put that too. There's a lot of different combos you can get. It's very, very cool. And Cypress is just one of my favorite morphs when it comes to what it does with clown. I know it's like beating the dead drum. Everybody always talks about clown, but there's a reason for it, just sometimes I feel like people who hate on clown, not always, some people just don't like it, and that's fair, but I think some people might be doing it just to be go against the grain. I don't know for sure anybody specifically would think that, but I sometimes hear it. But clown is the most it's the most popular morph for ball pythons. It's the number one thing I hear when I hear other breeders of other animals like boas and anacondas and retics. If I could take anything from bull pythons, it would be the clown morph, and there's a reason for it. And Cypress does well with it. So, alrighty, moving along. This is another one that I think would be good on. This is a cool looking animal that I feel might go for it should in most cases. It does have a lot of interest though. This leopard DG possible het pied. This is most certainly worth sending in a shed test for. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, you can actually take advantage of our special coupon, so to speak, with RGI. It's code Rhyno. You basically on Morphmarket or in Clutch, buy one, get one free. And it can be on the same animal or on a different animal. So if you wanted to test this one for possible het pied, you'd pay for the more expensive one. So let's just say one of them's $50. You'd pay for that one, and then you would write code Rhyno. Also test for you could say the same animal or a different animal. Obviously, in this case, nothing else to test for. So let's just say also test. You would include your ID for the animal, and you would have written it on the bag that it was in. Also test this one for maybe het pied as well, right? So you can get one of those for free. So take advantage of it. Try to go on a little tangent there, but if that's something you can do, definitely take advantage of it. Save yourself some money and get some good tests in, because this is one you definitely want to test for, because you'd want to pick up a male if it's proven as het pied. Probably a pied het DG to save a little bit of money if we're going for that type of saving type money project. But you can kind of see what leopard and DG really do together, and it emboldens these blacks that are already so amazing in leopard. Just really makes them shine. I'm honestly surprised. Well, it's just a desert ghost, that's why. But like, you look at this and you might think it's got pastel, right? But it's not. It's enhancing the beautiful color of the snake already. That's what desert ghost does. So this would be a really nice one to get, I think, for creating that type of project. If you want to work desert ghost pieds, which is a really good one. What was I guess? The terms work across the board. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier with how they work. I just got a Sea Serpents combo rack. I only have one banana cinnamon male. What would pair great with that? Also, thanks for the great advice. Well, I appreciate that. And obviously I mentioned earlier it is a recessive game. So it depends on what you're going for. If you're just banana, is one of the most incredible genes you can get. In fact, my first snake was just a banana. I still have him to this day. He's a male. We thought he was this is before I knew everything. I've had him for a long time, and we were told it was a female at first. And I spent so much time with the thing. It's actually my ambassador animal, Gwen. Go get Gwen. Hey, you. Hi. He's got it. Go get Gwen for me. Yeah.
We had multiple connection drops in the last 3 months.
Did we? Has anybody noticed anything? If you did, please let us know. Any drops in quality or stuttering or anything of the sort. So, but banana can go with just about anything, and she is a really good one. I mentioned clown earlier, but that's getting it into a recessive now. So, yeah, I would I would probably work it into clown. Banana clowns are really nice. Give me a minute here. Actually, I have banana clowns over here. Cool, actually having a stream now. I'll show you a couple that I have. Gotta be careful because they just ate. Oh, quiet you. This one's a bit of a sparker. So this is just, oh yeah, I forgot. This is gonna be tough. I have to do it from back here because the lighting is so terrible, but this is a banana clown. Let me see if I can get it a little closer with it. Yeah, you can see the lighting just kill it as it gets closer. But that's a banana clown right there. Please stay still. This is a banana spot nose clown. You know, it might be better if I just move the light. I'm telling my brother I'm doing this. It's not getting it all that well. We will get this better. I totally forgot about this. Well, this one's gonna try to bite me. Stop it. Don't do that. But that's a really good one. I would highly recommend into clown. No doubt. Then I'd like to show one more, but like I said, that lighting is just so poor. So we'll get that fixed. Figure something else out. Try to fix this before he comes back in and says, "Why'd you touch my lighting?" All right. Nobody tell him. All right, Cypress. Yeah, Cypress is amazing. Clown, but yeah, clown would go good because clown is, like I said, it is the most popular. There's a reason for it. Anytime a new morph is discovered, immediately people are trying to put it in the clown. So if it were a male, I would be interested in it. The banana clown, that's a female. Those both were. I do actually have banana GHI clowns over here as well. So there we are. Hi, Gwen. This is my first animal ever. I've had it for a very, very long time. He is not really even all that head shy. It's because I worked with him so much. So he's gonna hang out with us for the rest of the video. All right. I said we did drop twice for about 30 seconds each. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out. Probably, I think it's our provider. So, oh yeah, leopard. Yep. Yeah. This would be a good one. I think just to finish that sentence off for this little girl here. And again, there's some interest, and a lot of these people might be just putting placeholder bids so they can be around for when it ends. I call a placeholder bid throwing $5 on it when it's early on in a bid, and that way when it's 1 hour before it ends, what are you doing? That you were reminded that it's about to end. What are you doing? Oof. Put you like this. How's that? Alright, moving right along here. Alright, this one here is interesting. This is a super pastel 100% het zebra ready to breed male. So it doesn't look like he has proven yet, but I mean this is definitely the size. It's 7.55 grams. Been paired to 2 girls So they paired into 2 girls and probably just persons of zebra. Sorry, just reading to myself. Shed testing confirmed. Only het zebra passed down. Well, yeah. So you look at this and you see het zebra, and a lot of people look at these and say, like, that is more than just a pastel, because if it's het zebra, it should have no visual look, right? If it's a recessive. Well, there's a lot of people saying, like, what? In our last video, actually, we kind of touched on this, and we touched on this very morph right here. Zebra in its het form is very visual. It's quite frankly almost unmistakable. I mean, I can tell it immediately, whereas you shouldn't be able to tell a het, right, unless you should test it, or you know that that it was bred, you know, from a visual. But you could tell. You can easily tell. All these bandings kind of jumping around the back of it. It's pretty darn obvious that this is not. That super chocolate still going? Holy moly! All right. Oops. Gonna give away what I'm gonna talk about here. So it might as well go to that now. But the zebra itself, the visual form, so 2 copies of the zebra gene, looks like that. Still different from that, there's no doubt. And it creates more of these crazy bandings that jump across the top. Like you can see some of these like zebra pastels. Pastel's another good one with zebra. Oh my gosh, is it good? I wish you could click on this a little bit better. I can zoom. That looks horrible. Looks like some. I think that's pretty good. That's pretty darn good. But pastel works incredibly well with zebra. But there's a lot of people who think maybe it shouldn't be a recessive. And what's the discussions on that? What is a recessive, right? Well, a recessive is something that you really can't see in its heterozygous form. You'd only know by breeding it, or by doing a shed test. So, should it be? Well, I'm not going to answer whether I think it should or not, but I do want to show you something that we have actually here. It's a striker gene. Striker is very kind of similar. Kind of creates these bandings by itself, and it's very visual when you're looking at it. But in its super form, I mean, look at that. They look pretty similar, right? Now, also Mackenzie is another one that kind of does something similar, although I believe shed testing has proven that they're not the same. I don't know. I don't know if it has shown that it is maybe allelic or in the same family. So I think there's a lot of cool information coming out when it comes to these. But the one thing that doesn't really even need any information is that these are awesome. They're so cool, and that's what I'm getting at. Is that's sort of crazy cool things you can create. Reserve price on this one though, but the fact that he's ready is something that you can start creating really cool combos with, and then eventually, you know, work your way to create that. And I guess what I mentioned earlier is it's pretty easy to see that this isn't just super pastel. So you could probably, you know, keep your holdbacks based on just looks alone, because if you recreate this here, you know, and then you keep that, you save those, you bring them back into the project, and you start creating the visual zebras, which is a very high-end project, mind you. So I'm super happy to be in the striker. Like I said, I can't wait to create things like this. I'm actually working towards a hypo GHI this year with those with striker. So I'm pretty pumped, and it does have pastel, and like I said, pastel works good with it. I'm assuming it's going to work good here too. So pretty excited. I'll jump over. Oh, come on. So we actually had a thought process. The $5 thing is why I said, oh, come on. We had a thought process that would be cool. I don't know if they should do this. It's just a thought that once you reach a certain amount in an auction, that the increments should go up. Like you can't bid $5 anymore. It should be like big time money. That way it kind of stops this sort of stuff, this elongating I don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's just a thought, right? But you put $5 on this right now, and it just, you know, at 3 minutes, or I mean at 3 minutes, but at 3 seconds left or something like that, and then it just restarts the timer, and then somebody else does it, and then somebody else does it, and then theoretically this is going on forever. So I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but just a thought. Go back to the comments here. So we're almost coming up on done here. I think I only got like 4 more after these guys right here. Ooh, how old is Gwen? Whew. Like 8, I think. 8 or 9. I got Gwen, kept him for a while, and then immediately got caught with the bug and started doing all this stuff. And it just grew year over year over year over year of how seriously committed I was. And then we didn't start doing YouTube or creating anything name-wise or anything like that until a little whiles in. I had been creating animals by then and learning and such, so could be older, honestly. I just know how long I've had him. So yeah, see that? Doesn't care. As soon as I've just handled him and just he's had positive experiences with me. So is a Marvel chocolate Garcia a good mix? I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what Garcia is. I don't know if it's a combo. That's what's so cool about this business. You're learning stuff every single day. I don't know if that's a combo or if it's its own morph. But that Marvel, I know, is something that a lot of people have been talking about. So I'll try and look at that here in a second just to see if I can educate myself a little bit on that. Is zebra incomplete dominant? Well, that's the thing, is that no, it's listed as a recessive. So that's what people are kind of saying, like, should it be if it has that? Wonder what visual striker blade would look like. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody's created like a zebra clown or something like that, but I'd be interested. So makes sense. Over $1,020 bid, over $2,050 bids. Yeah, honestly, I'd be down for even more. I'd say once you get over like 500, it should be $25. 1,000, I think it should be maybe 50, or I mean, heck, maybe we're even pushing more. It's like $100 bids. That way, it's like more serious. And I mean, this thing has been just hit 3,000 as I switched over to it. It's been going for a while now, and let's just take a look at how many maybe just been $5 bids or like little bits. You eliminate a lot of that and have an auction end a lot sooner just by having it have more serious bids. So maybe not quite 100, maybe $50, something like that. I don't know. But then again, it does take away from some of that. So I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying it's a thing you could do. So Garcia is a line of chocolate. Okay, well that's cool. So basically, if it's a line of chocolate, then it'd be compatible with chocolate, I'm assuming. So that's basically a super chocolate that you're getting. Or is it a specific... No. I think I maybe misunderstood you. If it's a line of chocolate. So it's a chocolate Garcia, so it's its own thing. It's one gene, and it's its own line. I think that's what you're saying. Not its own thing. Not a super chocolate. But if it's something like that, chocolate is amazing. So I'd probably say yes. Especially if it's its own line, because there's a lot of those. There's their own lines, and there's some cool stuff coming out with those. You can get some crazy looking combos and something unique too. So, all right, moving into our next one here would be this acid clown. If you don't know, acid is thought maybe to be the same as confusion, but it does something very similar, which is what I love it for. And it does a lot more with the head, even though that's kind of what they're known for with clowns in general. But then it does stuff to the belly, creates belly pattern. Very, very cool animal. Love this. It's like a cross on its head. So, what are those, Templar crosses or something like that? Really, really cool. So, a reserve price on this one. I see these be I see these be listed. What am I, a pirate? I see these listed for 800 to 900. So I don't know what the reserve price might be. It might only be like 400 or 500, which would still be a really good one, especially for a female. There's another one I'm considering jumping in on at some point. I don't know, I'm kind of just weighing it and whatnot. I gotta be careful with how much I'm getting because I don't have so much room. But still a really good one. Acid is incredible, especially in clown. Like I said, you don't get things that do quite this, and you never get belly pattern on a ball python, hardly ever. But these things, they show it like a hognose does. It's so nuts, so beautiful. Acid and confusion are the same thing. See, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people, it doesn't say it for sure down here. A lot of times they'll say it when it's been confirmed, but like I think most people have said it's the same thing. If it ain't the same thing, it does the same thing. Let's just say that. So, and I think it is. So, it's the guy's name. Okay, for the Garcia, that is. So, the name for him. That's cool. So, buffering again. We'll have to figure that out. So, I apologize. Alright, for our last few here, actually it's only 2, I think. The last, I just want to show you paint. So this is a Orange Dream Enchi Yellow Belly, which is always an amazing set of combinations. Could be fire. I don't know. And it's het paint. That's a big one. So these combos, OD Enchi YB, that is a recipe for beauty every single time, no matter how you go about it. It's beautiful. If it is fire, you know, you need to make sure if you wanted to get fire into it, if you were going to breed fire back into this, well, don't until you confirm if it has fire or not, because you get a white snake. That would be no good. But the paint is really what I want to go about here, because if you look at this, you already see beauty. But I like to look at what's underneath the picture, underneath the, the surface here. And this is what a paint would look like. All right, Gwen. Let's calm down here, little guy. I'm going to hold your head. So, another type of granulation that just looks like smeared paint along the side of it. It's so incredibly busy. I like to compare it to what we're going to talk about next, in that they're kind of parallels to each other. And that would be puzzle. Paint they're nothing alike. But paint is beautiful chaos. And puzzle is clean chaos, if that makes sense. That's kind of why I think they're like yin and yang of each other. At least that's what I've always thought. Also kind of have known as the Sentinels, if you ever see that. It's kind of the same thing, at least, again, thought to be. It's got this dirty type pattern that's just incredible. And I just imagine the beauty of this with this. It would literally look like a explosion. It's so nuts. Paint is so highly underrated, and I always say this whenever I talk about paint, that if you ever want to talk to someone who really knows what they're talking about, talk to Jim from Southwest Wisconsin Reptiles. He works paint and has been singing his praises for many, many years, and there's a reason for it, and he knows what he's talking about. And this combo here, if you could hit the visual, get yourself a visual male to put to her, you could do that with this cool coloring. So, very nice. So, and then for our last one, well, I already gave it away. It's a puzzle from Reptile Creations, who ironically we were just talking about lines of jeans. They have their own line. It's the RK line of asphalt, which is crazy because when you get it in a freeway, rather than creating the lines going down the back of the snake, you get these like sideways. It's crazy. It's cool. Just thought of that since we were talking about lines just recently. But puzzle is a really, really nice gene. We work it here. I have a male and a female, but I was mostly getting it just to put it in the Monarch. That's what I wanted to work it in, and I created my hets earlier than I ever expected, and it's with cinnamon, so I'm pretty excited about that. I don't think anybody's done that route with cinnamon, so I'm very excited to explore that, because I think cinnamon and Monarch go pretty well together. So, a female here. What I like about what I see it from Reptile Creations all the time. Reserve prices, I totally understand why they exist, right? Protect the seller. But sometimes you just see someone list it for what their reserve price would be. I like that, because now I don't have to guess or anything like that. If I'm interested, there's their lowest price that they'll accept, and it'll go from there if anybody else wants to compete with me. So I always like that, although I still totally understand a reserve type system. So often you'll see the weirdo, or what they call the het daddy gene, floating around in there. Ours is actually that as well. And it's another one that can be a little subtle, quite frankly, but it brings in some nice peaches to the sides and such like that. I really like it. This was a pastel yellow Billy Weirdo puzzle to a puzzle, so it obviously has to be a puzzle. Who knows, maybe we get lucky and somehow get Weirdo in there, although it's hard to see. They're not even putting that in there. Plus, Weirdo's not listed yet as a gene, so sometimes it can be a little difficult to be sure. So yeah, puzzle is just such a nice combination. People, the saying right now is puzzle's the new clown. I don't know about that, but puzzle is definitely hitting the scene as something big and something that it has a large floor of things that it can work with. So I think that while I wouldn't say it's on the clown level right now, it is very, very good and very beautiful. And there's a lot, like I said, what it does to the pattern is just that you kind of see here with the paint mix the two of them. Chaos, right? And dirty chaos, and just kind of jumbled up the pattern there too. Looks like little puzzle pieces. So clean though, much cleaner in many ways. So, but yeah, that's everything that we have today to show you for the auctions. Anyway, I'll go ahead and finish up with the comments, and if anybody's got anything else they want to say in the meantime or ask, feel free. I don't got really anywhere to be right now, so. Oh, we missed it. So sold for $305. That one for earlier. It finally ended. $3,000. That's crazy. That is crazy. So lasted the entire the bidding war. It lasted literally the entire of our live stream here. So thanks for calling that out. I totally would have forgotten to go back to that, Lexi, so I appreciate it. Anything allelic with Enchi has to be cool. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think that there really is. I mean, sometimes I've heard people say blade is another form of Enchi, or that it's I don't know, I'm a little confused on the blade, I won't lie, in terms of like what it is. But yeah, Enchi is obviously an incredible gene, creating those reduced sides, or not sides, reduced patterns and whatnot. So, hi Paul, how are you? Unfortunately, we are finishing up here, but still welcome to you. And you can actually check out they always immediately post a replay that you can watch if you really wanted to. You can skip through any little part that you don't care for, in fact. So Christy, what beauties. Oh, all the snakes here. Yeah, absolutely. And this is like I said, if anybody hadn't been here, this is Gwen. This is literally my very first bull python that I ever had. It's just my pet, and I'd never get rid of him under any circumstances. He is easily my my favorite. Just not from a visual standpoint, clearly. He's just a banana. But yeah, I mean, you can kind of see right here, just like I said, I worked with Gwen for so long. Gwen has gotten so used to me, he doesn't care that I do what I'm doing right now, whereas most bull pythons, even the good ones, very much do not care for their heads being touched. But this one doesn't care. Not even a bit. Well, I'm sure it kind of does, but it's just gotten used to it. So yeah, we'll figure this out. It's Jenny. I can go back here and do it, but as you get closer look, it's just like, it turns into a ghost. So to show them off, I don't know how we'd have to do it. Probably turn this light off.
No, that doesn't make it worse.
No, I don't think it will. When I had it back here for certain ones, yeah, that's way better. It's not perfect, but it's way better. The lighting is not great, but yeah, it's just way better for the snake. Maybe we turn, that's what I mean, turn it off, and then we figure a different light for when we're showing snakes in the future. But that's what we'll do. Well, this light will stay on, but when I go to show a snake, turn it off, turn another one on. What a thought. Turn that off. Don't blind me. So, cinnamon is allelic with Enchi. I didn't know that. Yeah, I had no idea. Learn something new every day. Maybe I did. Now that I'm saying it out loud, I feel like I did. Sometimes I like don't think about it until it's like in front of my face. And I work cinnamon, not a whole bunch, and I do work enchi, but not together. So, but yeah, if nobody else has anything, feel free to still throw a comment in there. We'll probably get going here. As always, I definitely appreciate everybody joining in. We'll try to get those these drops in quality, or these lag spikes, under control. I don't know what the heck it is. We've been doing these for a while. I can't believe it's the camera. I mean, although it did start when we introduced the camera, but we've been having those issues, you know, just when you're testing it. So I don't know. Hopefully it's not too crazy for y'all, and you know, not ruining the experience and whatnot. But yeah, other than that, I think my brother has spammed our Discord server. Please join if that's your fancy. It's just a place to hang out and, you know, chat and ask advice for certain things, and just everybody come together. I pop in there every now and again and try to make it a point to talk to everybody and just hang out. But a lot of it's just it's a kind of a self serving type community too. It's what I'm trying to create for people to just get together and help each other out and just have fun. So but yeah, if that is it, we're going to go ahead and call it there. Again, I really appreciate everybody joining. We try to do these every single Tuesday, which, you know, barring a complete drop in quality, we'll do again next Tuesday. And if I haven't gotten any worse with my cold. So hope you all enjoyed, and we will definitely catch you in the next one. Thank you so much. End screen. Yay, I remembered the end screen. Have a good one, everybody.